Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin. Today, we're headed out on the water. We have got beautiful conditions to go out and do some bass fishing. So today, we're going power fishing. Come along, it should be a lot of fun. I love our conditions this morning. You know, it's a little cool this morning. It's a little brisk, nice chop on the water. And then all day long, it's supposed to notch up, just get warmer and warmer and warmer. And this time of year, that is a recipe for success. So we've got everything from a flipping stick to a frog laying on the deck, like true power fishing, and we're just going to work our way through those baits. I'm hoping to get on a really good early season topwater bite. I have no idea if we will. I don't have a clue what's going on, but we're about to figure it out together. So let's get to fishing. Oh. That was vicious. Oh my gosh. I made a bad cast to start with, out away from the bank, so I was just reeling it back, got the blow up and missed it. Follow-up cast, completely open water. That dude smashed that bronze eye. Wow. What a bite. Get up here. Look at that thing. Look at that frog down there. Those are the blow-ups that you just dream about. Oh my gosh. That fish just knew that that frog was the real thing. You know, it was convinced, and it was going to kill that frog. There was no missing, there was no short striking, just explosion. Unbelievable. Gosh, that is so fun. Third bite, third fish. And it's not just that we're getting bit, it's that these bites are vicious. You know, something that's probably not coming through, because a lot of people watch a video like this and they're like, man, I never catch frogfish like that, or how do you go out and catch a bunch of frogfish in a row? I struggle to get bit. I want you guys to understand, when you're watching a video and we're jumping from fish to fish, this morning might look easy. I'm working my tail off. I've got my trolling motor set on 6, okay? That's more than halfway up on the speed. I'll bet I've fished, I was just thinking about it before I got that bite. I'll bet I have already frogged for 1.5 miles this morning. I'm in these canals, going up one, coming out, finding another one, going up that one, coming out, finding another one. I'm covering tons and tons and tons of water looking for active fish. Every single bite I get is just like the freight train of a lifetime. The bites that you just never forget. I love that kind of a bite, right? So this time of year, there's no question there's fish spawning. There should be fish in all 3 phases right now. And I didn't feel like doing that. I mean, I just got up this morning. So this lake I'm on, I've been here one other time in my life, and I've never even been in this part of the lake. But I got up this morning, and I mean, I tied on frogs, flipping baits, chatterbait, a weightless worm, you know, a handful of things. But I thought, I want to go frogging. That's how I want to catch them. If I can't, I'll try everything else under the sun, but I want to catch them on a frog because I just love those explosions, right? So that's what I came out here hoping to do. If you want to catch fish like this on a frog can be used so many different ways, right? You can fish the thickest of cover. You can use them to pick cover apart if you know where fish are. But for me today, I'm using it to cover water. 1.5 miles of water, open water, all 3 bites. There's no grass. There's like overhanging debris, junk like that, but there's no grass. Completely open water bite. So I'm fishing very quickly and walking the frog. I am using it to locate aggressive fish. Now, when you're fishing it like that, a lot of people would think, so why the frog, right? Why a frog this early in the season? 2, why a frog when you're trying to cover water? Let me drop my raptors. Hold us here. Wasn't even sure they were gonna hit bottom, but they did. So I use a frog because a frog is a big bass bait. If you can get them to eat it, a lot of the times they're big ones. I think a lot of that has to do with size, right? The frog itself is not that big, but when those legs start spreading out, it's a pretty big profile. 2, it's silent. And silent is a major deal if you're hoping to catch a big one. Now, there's days where they're crushing a spook or a buzzbait, you know, a whopper plopper. But if you're just gonna gamble, like, I wanna get some topwater bites, I'd love to get a giant, a silent bait is a really good way to catch a giant. My water's super murky. I'm seeing maybe 6 inches in the water, but the one other time I was here, it was murky then too. So I think that's totally normal. These fish are not missing, right? Like, if they take a shot at this frog, they get it. So obviously they know how to see through this stuff. So the fact that it's silent does not matter at all. And I feel like that helps me get bigger bites. And then color, when it comes to color with a frog, you don't have to get very complicated. Like I'm gonna sit down here. In general, 4 colors of frog, okay? White, black, chartreuse, bluegill. Now you can throw 100 other colors if you want to, but those are gonna get it done. Rule of thumb, if I'm just, you know, throwing one out there, I'm gonna get a lot more bites on bluegill frogs and white or shad frogs. In general, I get a lot of bites on those. I tend to get bigger bites on the blacks and the chartreuses. It seemed like when I was in the western fisheries, when Tim and I were out there, chartreuse got most of our big bites out there. When I'm down in the south, it seems like black gets most of my bigger bites, but black is just a big fish color. Now, black and red, black and yellow, black and blue, you've got all these options, right? Black blue is just a proven big fish catcher. That's how that ended up on my rod today. But if I reach over here, you'll find there's also a rod with bluegill. You'll find that there's also a rod with a shad color. Again, I didn't know whether or not this was gonna work today. Today's a gamble for me. I just came to a place I haven't been in so long, tied on some things I thought would work, came up with a plan, and then went to work. And again, it is work. I'm covering a ton of water to catch them the way I want to catch them. But we're getting quality bites. We got a big bite already, and all of the bites are just vicious. And that's as fun as it gets. I am having the time of my life this morning. All right, that's a little breakdown of sort of what's going on in my head and what's going on behind the scenes. You know, one other thing, we are on my Skeeter today. This is an FXR 21. This is one of the most impressive fishing platforms that you can get, right? It is an unbelievable boat. It rides like a dream, full of bells and whistles, padded deck, and it's loaded down with high-end electronics. I have 4 Humminbird Apex 13s on this boat. Okay, if I need technology to catch them today, I have it. But here's what I want you guys to know, because you don't know this when you're at home watching this. I haven't even turned on my electronics today. We are literally fishing without any equipment. I haven't so much as turned on the map of the lake. I had been here one other time, so I knew that this place had a lot of backwaters and canals, and I had caught fish in them the one other time I was here. So today I was like, hey, last time I was on that place, there were tons of canals. That looked really fun. I hardly even got into them, so that's just what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna give it a whirl. So here we are, no electronics. We have them, we just don't need them today. Blindly covering water with a frog and a locked down drag and an X-Pride 7.3 Extra Heavy, my favorite frog rod. And we're just gonna keep on doing this as long as they'll bite. Well, that'll work.
Yeah, I turn all my fish loose when I go out fishing.
Do you?
Yeah, I turn them all loose.
That's a beautiful one right there.
We're good shape when we get it. What is that on,
What
brother?
a fish. So I didn't make a big deal about that last fish at all because there was a bass fisherman standing right there on his dock. He had his bass boat on the dock. He had his Ranger jacket on. He was watching intently. So I didn't make a big deal about it, but that fish, I mean, it absolutely massacred that frog. I don't even know how deep it is. I mean, the raptors hit earlier, so it's probably like 5 or 6 feet deep in the middle of these ditches. That fish was out in the open water. It was in the shade, but it was in the open water, and it hit that frog so hard. And that fish, I mean, it didn't have a belly on it. It was super skinny, and I'll bet it was still 6.5 to 7 pounds. I mean, it was a big one. And it had no gut. If that fish had been fat, if it had been healthy pre-spawn, I mean, we're talking about a big fish. What an amazing bite. Like, these are the days when it's wintertime and it's cold and we're grinding. I dream about catching big ones the way I want to catch them. You know, this is the stuff right here. So we're gonna keep going. I have identified sort of a pattern within the pattern. Every bite I've had has been in the back third of a canal. So whether that canal was 100 yards long or it was a mile long, the back third seems to be where the fish are. So that's gonna save me a lot of time now. I should be able to be much more efficient. Hopefully we'll get some more bites. I mean, as long as they wanna eat it, I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again. Whoa, check it out. Look, it's an owl. No, 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 no. That was an owl. Did you guys see that? That was so cool. How crazy. Whoa. Whoa. Did you guys just see that owl? That scared me so bad. He just swooped right behind me to get to my frog over here on the other side of the canal. Pretty obvious he's never seen a spro popping frog before. That was wild. There's one. A little bit smaller fish than the frogfish. That was on the Missile Baits Bomba. It's a gravity bait, or a poop bait is what people call that category. But a weightless presentation. What I like about it is you could snap it up off the bottom. It's really erratic. And then it's got, of the baits in this category, that Bomba has the slowest fall of any of them. And I like that a lot when I'm in a shallow environment like this. Another one on that Bomba. I've only made about 10 casts with it, and I've already caught 2. And here's what I'm noticing. 1, they're smaller. 2, they're a lot more plentiful. I'm wondering if that frog all day has just been selecting for the biggest fish. Interesting. You know, it's crazy because, one, we had to cover so much water this morning to locate that the fish were in the back third, that I think if I had started slow fishing like this, I'm not sure I ever even would have run into them, because I would have fished for a quarter mile. It would have taken me 2 hours, and I never would have gotten the first bite before I gave up and did something else. So in this case, targeting big ones, but fishing quickly, actually built the pattern that now I can slow down, downsize, and catch a bunch of fish too. Sort of backwards to normal thinking, but it's working like a dream. Oh my gosh, that's a giant. I saw her eat it. I was looking right at it. That was amazing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a bite. It has been hours since I've had a frog bite. I was looking right at it when that fish just massacred it. Same frog again, just incredible. Golly. It's another big one. That is incredible. Wow. Look at the frog down in there. Just choked it. Unbelievable. What a day. Amazing. All right, guys, it's time to wrap things up, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the gear, because today was one of those days that is just incredible, right? I mean, we just smashed them. I don't know what our 5 fish limit weighs, but it is substantial, and we caught them really fun ways. But it would have been so easy for today to go the other way, right? I mean, one, we already talked about how much water I had to cover, the things I was looking for, how I built the pattern, because you could have come here and just gotten 1 or 2 bites all day by fishing at a normal speed. But more than that is that I landed every single fish that I hooked. So the conversion rate was really important, because it would be very easy to miss a couple of those big bites. And I mean, we still caught some big ones, but we wouldn't have had the bag, right? Execution is everything, especially when big fish are on the line. So that Bomba, I was just gonna walk you through the setup. That Bomba, I've got that on a Gamakatsu 3/0 super line. The reason why I fish that on that specific hook is because it fits so well in the Bomba. Most of the like poop bait category baits like this require a 4/0. The Bomba is just a little slimmer. So the 3/0 allows me to throw lighter line, lighter gear, everything. I'm throwing this on, it's a Dobbin 744C. That's a Champion Extreme HP. So that's a 7.4 4 power. But this specific rod has a softer tip than the power of the rod, the rating of the rod suggests. And it really allows me to be accurate with this bait. Skipping under docks, throwing up around cover, I can be really accurate. And then it's incredibly sensitive too. Metanium MGL, which is my bread and butter reel. Obviously, this is a very expensive combo, not for everybody, but it is so dialed in and so good for throwing that bait. And the thing with the Bomba, this is in the same category as like a Senko, right? But the Senko is all about the slow fall, and then it's sort of over. The poop bait category is sort of the opposite. You throw it out there and it gets to bottom fast, but when you pop it up off bottom, it can be really erratic. The Bomba is sort of the in-between between both of those things. I really like that bait. Now, the frog, we've already talked about that, so we won't go deep into that rabbit hole. Every single fish today came on that same Bronzeye 65 in that navy seal color. That's what that black and blue is called. That has just become such a confidence color for me. I just catch a lot of big ones on it. I talked a minute about, you know, the rod and all that. 7.3 extra heavy X Pride. Again, a Metanium MGL because I can cast forever. 65-pound Max Quattro on that. I use Max Quattro because it is significantly thinner than my other 65-pound options. So I'm allowed to get all the power without that big line appearance. The other thing about this setup, that 7.3 extra heavy, listen, whether it's up close quarters, like some of those bites that happen at the boat, or it's one of those ones that's way out there, if you get a big bite on a frog, you need horsepower to put those fish in the boat. You have got to be prepared to smash that hook set. And that's what that 7.3 extra heavy is all about. I'm retying because after a day of catching good ones, I noticed my line is a little chafed up. It's been in and out of all kinds of brush and garbage today. But that 7.3 extra heavy really lets me put the screws to them. And the other thing is frogging all day. You know, frogging is a power technique. There's a lot of smashing that goes into those hook sets, but walking the frog requires a very sensitive touch. It's more like drop shotting than it is power fish. Just is what it takes to get a frog to walk the dog. It's not this big violent motion like a lot of people think. This particular rod, that X Pride, is so unbelievably light for the power. I don't understand how they can make such a light rod so stout and still have no issues breaking them. You know, I have fished through the generations of X Pride as they've made upgrades and things through the years, and I have never broken a 7.3 extra heavy ever. And I have crushed fish with these things. They're just so dialed in. So anyway, guys, I'll wrap it up there. Today was awesome. I'm so glad that we got to go out and do this together. I'll link everything in the video description for you, from the bait, maybe some of the other stuff I had on deck, even though I never even got around to picking it up. But I'll link the rods, reels, baits, all that stuff in the video description. I hope that you enjoyed coming along. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.